Good morning, students. Today we will start with 6th chapter, The Making of a Scientist, from Footprints Without Feet, and the writer of the story is Robert W. Peterson. See, Robert W. Peterson, he was an American newspaper writer. Basically, he was American newspaper writer who later became a freelancer author of magazine articles and books. Let us discuss about the title. Throughout the chapter, the author gives details about the stages of Richard Ebright's growth as a scientist, his curiosity, his keenness to achieve something great in the field of science, and his untiring effort, dedication. They were the key areas of focus. In addition, the author also talks about the qualities that an upcoming successful scientist must have. Now, we'll come to know about the scientist Richard Ebright, how he became scientist, what quality he possessed that led him to become a successful scientist. And during his childhood, Ebright, he was very much fascinated by the butterflies, and because of this fascination, he became a great scientist. And the main characters in this story are Ebright and Ebright's mother. Ebright, he was a promising child who always used his time well. As a little boy, he had nothing to do in his hometown, so he started collecting things, particularly butterflies. He also collected fossils, rocks and coins. Besides, he was an avid astronomer and did stargazing at nights. Determination and hard work marked all the activities throughout his life. He was a brilliant student and always did well in his examination. And to sum up, we can say that Ebright had all the qualities to make a great scientist and a good human being. Now, Ebright's mother, she was an important driving force behind him. She was the main source. She was the main driving force behind Ebright, who laid the foundation of his success. Ebright was her only child, whom she affectionately called Richie. And Ebright was also known as nicknamed Richie after her husband's death. Her son Ebright, he was in 3rd grade when his father died, and she would encourage his interest in learning and would take him to trips. She would buy different things, whatever he demanded. She was his only companion until he started school. After that, she would bring home friends for him at night, be with him to do things together. She would spend almost every evening at dining table with her son Richie. And we can say that Ebright's mother, she was an important driving force who laid the foundation of Ebright's success and who was responsible for making him achieve the goal. Now let us start with the chapter, The Making of a Scientist. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in Proceedings of National Academy of Science. At the age of 22, this was the first time all the scientific world, they were surprised that at the age of 22, he had won the prize, Scout of the Year also, and he surprised whole scientific world because he found the new theory on how cell works. Richard and his roommate explained the theory, and this theory was explained in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. This was a scientific journal, and it was this was prestigious scientific journal. The publishing of Ebright's article by a prestigious scientific journal was rare because it was for the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students in sports that would be like making a big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. For Richard Ebright, it was latest in a long string of achievements in science and other fields, and it all started with butterflies. Now, the author says the publishing of Ebright's article by a prestigious scientific journal was rare because it was for the first time that this journal this was Proceeding of National Academy Science. This is a scientific journal, and this was the first time that the journal had published the work of college students. And this was a very big achievement for them, Richard, and this was a very big achievement for Richard as well as his friend. The author considers it to be as a special and as rare as making the big leagues at the age of 15 or hitting a home run in the game of baseball. He's comparing this, that the how the person becomes happy when he achieves in the sports. In the same way, when this article was published in this book, in the scientific journal, that it was, their happiness was limitless. And it all started with butterflies, and this revolution started with butterflies. As I told you earlier, his fascination was to collect the butterflies, and this fascination only led him to become a scientist. An only child, and he was the only child of his parents, Ebrard grew up in north of Reading, Pennsylvania. Now, Reading is a name situated in Pennsylvania, and now he grew up in north of Reading. There was not much I could do there. He says there was nothing. There was not much exposure. There was not much exposure that he could go further for his experiments. He said, I certainly could not play football or baseball with a team of one. But there was one thing I could do, collecting. Now he says, very less exposure was there in that place. He could not play football or baseball with anyone. But he says, only one thing he used to do, that was collecting things. So he did, and he did. Means he kept on collecting the things because he did not have any other activity to do. Beginning in kindergarten, when he was in KG, kindergarten, Ebrard collected butterflies with same determination that has marked all his activities. And now collecting butterflies was a part of all his activities. It became the part of all his other activities. He also collected rocks, fossils and coins. Besides collecting butterflies, he collected rocks, fossils and coins. He became an eager astronomer. He was very eager astronomer too. Sometimes stargazing, all that. And he used to stare the stars at night. From the first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. First thing, he had the curiosity. He was a curious child. Curiosity was the main motive which motivated him. And besides this, bright mind is also needed. So, curiosity and bright mind, both the things did miracle. They brought miracle for him. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. No doubt, as I told you, mother, she was an important driving force behind him, who laid the foundation of his success. She took him on trips, bought his telescope, microscopes, cameras, mounting material and other equipments, and helped him in his many other ways. And now she used to take him for the trips, and she used to help him out in each and every step of life where she was needed. I was his only companion. I refers to mother. Now mother says that she was only his companion. No one else was there who would accompany him. So she was only the companion until he started school. And until he started school, she was the only companion of Richard. His mother said, after that, I would bring some home friends for him. And when he started going to school, after that, he became friendly with some of the students. And his mother, she used to bring his friends to home. But at night, we just did things together. And at night, mother and son, they both used to do things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in third grade. And now his mother, she says, say Richie is a nickname. She used to call Richard Ebright as Richie. She says that he was his whole life after his father died. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. And evening was spent on dining room table. If he did not have things to do, and she says, if Richard, he did not have anything to do, I found work for him. And his mother, she used to find work for him, not physical work, but learning things. His mother said he liked it, wanted to learn. And now mother says that not physical work, she used to give learning things. She used to give, to keep him engaged, she used to give him learning things because he loved learning and he liked it. He liked learning. He wanted to learn and he was always ready to learn. He was very keen to learn. And learn he did. And he kept on learning. He earned top grades in school and he was an intelligent boy and he used to get top grades in school. On every day things he was just like every other, and he was just like a normal child. His mother said that he was just like a normal child, but he was very intelligent and he used to get good grades. He used to earn top grades in the school. By the time he was in second grade, and now when he was promoted to second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies he found around his hometown. Now you can see the list. See, the list is given there in your book. When he was in second grade, he collected 25 species of butterflies, and that too, 25 species were collected around his hometown, nearby his hometown. That probably would have been the end of my butterflies collecting. And he says, probably would have been shayad. I would have stopped collecting the butterflies further, he said. But then a miracle happened. What happened? His mother, she got a book for him. She got a children's book for him named The Travels of Monartin. And this was the turn in this book. It became the turning point in Ebright's life. That book, which told about monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. Now, as we know, Richard, he was very curious child from the very starting. He was very keen child, and now that book, it was a turning point in his life, and in that book it was described how monarch butterflies is a species, monarch is a species of butterfly, how they migrate to Central America. And this was opened the world of science to them. And this book was responsible, which gave lots of information regarding that butterflies, and it opened the science world for Richard. At the end of the book, and the author says at the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. And the readers, they were invited to help study butterfly migrations, how they migrate. They were asked to take butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of the University of Toronto, and they were asked to tag. Tag is to stick a tag on the butterflies, and they were asked to tag butterflies for research, and if they get the butterfly, they should tag the butterfly and would send to the University of Toronto in Canada to Dr. Urquhart. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. And now, even Ebright, he started tagging. Tagging is to put the tags लगाते हैं जैसे किसी के ऊपर. तो the butterflies, they were tagged to the wings of monarchs. Anyone who found the tag, or whosoever found the tag, and the instructions were given that whosoever finds a tagged butterfly, they were asked to send those tagged butterflies to Dr. Urquhart. In this para, it is told that now the tagging of the butterflies, they started tagging of the butterflies for research, and the people, they were told, if anyone finds a tagged butterflies, so they should send those butterflies to Dr. Urquhart for the research. The butterfly collecting season around reading lasts 6 weeks in late summer, and butterfly collecting season was for 6 weeks there. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. And the author says, if the people they collect one by one, it would be next to impossible to collect all. So it was a difficult task to collect one butterfly. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. Flock of butterflies means group of butterflies. Now to grow group of butterflies. Now next target for Ebright, as it was a difficult task to catch one butterfly, so he thought of growing the butterflies in a group. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs. And now he would catch female monarch and take her eggs and raise them in his basement through their life cycle. And you might have read in the science, the life cycle of the butterfly, from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterfly's wings and let them go. And now it was not possible to find the butterflies for tagging, enough butterflies for tagging and sent to Dr. Urquhart for research. So now Richard, what he started doing, he started collecting. He started to grow group of butterflies, and he would catch a female monarch, and he took her eggs, and he raised them in the basement through the life cycle, and the life cycle of the butterfly, it was completed, and then when it was in the form of butterflies, then he would tag the butterflies' wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was up. Now for several years, there were number of butterflies in his basement in different stages of development. Now eventually, I began to lose interest. And he says, though he started growing group of butterflies, but what happened? He started losing his interest in tagging the butterflies. Why? What was the reason? Because he got very little feedback, and it's tedious. Tedious is tiring, thakane wala. He began to lose his interest in tagging butterflies because he got very little feedback, and that was quite tiring job. And there's not much feedback. Ebright said, in all the time I did it, he laughed. Throughout the time I did this job of growing the butterfly in groups and all that and tagging them, hardly, he says, only 2 butterflies he had tagged were recaptured. Only 2 butterflies he had tagged were caught, were found. And they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived, and they were nearby. Then in 7th grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a world science fair. And when he was in 7th grade, he came to know, for being successful, and he says that he came to know what real science is, and he entered a country science fair and lost. और वो हार गया. He participated in country science fair, and there he lost. And from this we can say failure is the stepping stone to success. How? We'll come to know. See, he lost, but he did not lose his faith. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something. And he says that it was a sad feeling. He was sitting idle there. Everybody was getting the prize. Those who participated in science fair, everybody, they were receiving the prizes. But he was sitting. So he was feeling very sad. Ebright said his entry was slides of frog tissues. He said that he had what experiment he has done? He has made the slides of frog tissues, which he showed under a microscope, and he displayed under the microscope. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, and after that he realized that the winner, those who have won the prizes, they had done the real experiments, not simply make a neat display. And he says that they did not simply display their experiment, but they did the experiment. They did real experiments. And he realized to win, one should do real experiments. He felt that next time he would be doing the same. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard Ebright was appearing. Now the competitive spirit, it was appearing in Richard. I knew that for the next year's fair I would have to do a real experiment. See, this is known as I told you, failure is a stepping stone to success. In this science fair, he lost, but he did not lose his faith. And next time, he decided definitely I'll win. I'll do real experiment and I'll win. The subject I knew most about was the insect work. Insect work. What is it? Yes, obviously, he was very much aware about the insect work because from the very early childhood, he was collecting the butterflies. I had been doing in the past several years. So he wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas. And he wrote to Dr. Urquhart about his ideas, about the real experiments, about the insects, about the experiment on insects. And back came a stack of suggestions. Stack is plenty of, many, number of. As Dr. Urquhart, he had done intensive research on insects. So number of ideas, he gave number of suggestions for experiments. Those kept Ebright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in country and international science fair. And these suggestions, these experiments kept Ebright busy all through high school and led prize projects in, and he won many prizes in country and international science fairs. And the hardworking, he was very hardworking. For his 8th grade project, now in 8th class, again for the project, Ebright tried to find a cause of viral disease that kills nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. In 8th standard, when he was in 8th grade, he wanted to do some new experiment. He wanted to find out the cause of how monarch dies due to viral disease. Ebright thought the disease might be carried by beetle. Beetle is an insect. And Ebright thought that definitely this disease might be the cause of this disease is caused by insect. He tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. And what he did? He started raising caterpillars, brought up Palna in the presence of beetles. As he wanted to know the reason, so he started raising the caterpillars in the presence of beetles. I did not get any real result. He says, though he tried to find out the cause, but he did not get the result. But he presented this same experiment in the fair that he had tried to find out, but he did not get the result. This time I won. Though he did not complete the experiment, he did not find the result, but still he won. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory of viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. See, viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. Viceroy and monarchs, these are the types of butterflies, and they say viceroy and monarchs both are same. The theory was the viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. Say that both are same, look-wise both are same, but the difference could be found that the theory was the viceroy look like monarchs. Though viceroy and monarch both look like monarchs, viceroy looks like monarch because monarch, but the birds, they don't like the taste of monarch butterflies. Viceroy on the other hand do taste good to birds, and birds enjoy viceroys. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird singer. So Ebright's project was to see whether in fact birds would eat monarchs. And now next project was, he wanted to know whether the birds would eat monarchs. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird. And now he found that the starling is a bird. It would eat all monarchs it could get. It would eat all the monarchs. Jitni monarchs milengi, it could eat. Ebright, and later what did Ebright find? Said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarchs. And when the research was done, he found that viceroys probably do copy the monarchs. They imitate monarchs. उनकी नकल करते हैं. This project placed first in zoology division and bird third overall in the country. And in the same, he won the prize that starling birds eat all monarchs, butterflies. In his second year in high school, Richard Ebright began the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Now, he developed the theory of cells of unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory on his life of cells. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of 12 tiny gold spots on monarch's pupa? He wanted to know, the experiment he wanted to do was, he wanted to know what is the main purpose of 12 tiny gold spots on monarch's pupa. Everybody assumed the spots were just ornamental. Everybody thought, अंदाजा लगाना, कि that is ornamental just because of show purpose. Ebright said, but Dr. Urquhart did not believe it. He said, but doctor, he was a researcher, he did not believe that spots were just ornamental. So he started doing the experiment on the same. He wanted to find out the purpose of it. To find the answer, Ebright and other excellent science students first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. And after Ebright and others excellent science students, what did they do? They made a device. They developed a device. And what did they find? They found that the spots, they were producing a hormone which was necessary for the development of butterfly. Gold color spots, these were not ornamental. They were necessary for butterflies' full development. The project won Ebright first place in the country fair and entry into International Science and Engineering Fair. And he won first place. He stood first in country fair and he got the entry in International Science and Engineering Fair also. Then he won third place for zoology And in international science and engineering fair, he won third place. He also got a chance to work during the summer at entomology laboratory of Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Entomology is study of insects, and then he got the chance to study in that research institute. As a high school junior, Richard Everett continued his advanced experiments on the monarch pupa, and he kept on doing the experiments. That year, his project won first place at the International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in army. And he was successful. He stood first, he won first prize, and he got another chance to work in the army lab during the summer. In his senior year, he went a step further. And in senior year, he moved further. He grew cells from a monarch's wings. And he grew cells from monarch's wings. He took cells taken from monarch wings in a culture. Culture is a regulated temperature, and showed the cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spot. And they found that if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots, then the butterfly wings would grow. That project won first place in zoology at International Fair. Again, he won first place, first award. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army lab and at the lab of US Department of Agriculture. The following summer, after his freshman year at Harvard University, Everett went back to the Department of Agriculture's lab and did more work on the gold spot hormone. And now again, he started working more on gold spots hormone using the lab's sophisticated instruments and well-equipped instruments. He used well-equipped instruments from that lab. In that lab, he was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure, and he was trying to find the hormone's structure, chemical structure. A year and a half later, during his junior year, Brad got the idea for his new theory about the cell life. And now he got the idea about the cell life, that every living organism exists because of cell. It came while he was looking at X-rays photos of chemical structure of a hormone. When he saw those photos, Everett did not shout "Eureka" when he was going through this X-ray photos. So Eureka is found it. He did not shout, found it, or he did not say that he got it. But he believed that along with his findings about insects hormone, the photos gave him the answer to one of the biology's puzzles: how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. DNA is substance in nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. Now, it is said that DNA is a substance in nucleus that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell, and thus DNA is a blueprint for life. This is a technical drawing that life is made of cells. Everett and his college roommate James R. Wong worked all that night, drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Now, they kept on working for their experiments. Together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. Surprising no one who knew him, and no one was astonished to see Richard. Everybody knew that he was extraordinary, that Richard was an extraordinary child. Richard Everett graduated from Harvard with highest honors, second in his class of 1,510. He stood second out of so many students. Everett went to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. And now further he he started doing experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, and if he says if the theory it proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the processes of life. Then it would be easy to understand the process of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancers and other diseases, and it can cure. It might also lead. They can also come to know about to cure some types of cancer and other diseases. All of this is possible because of a bright scientific curiosity, and this would have been possible because of the curiosity, because of the keenness of their child. His high school research into the purpose of the spots on monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about the cell cycle, and he had scientific curiosity to know about the spot, and that led him towards his success. Richard Everett has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies, but not so deeply that he has not time for other interests. Like, besides this, apart from the science, he had other interests also. He also became a champion debater and public speaker and a good canoeist. Canoeist is boat, light boat, and all around outdoor person. He is also an expert photographer, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. He was a photographer also. Besides, apart from science, he took interest in different activities. In high school, Richard Everett was a straight A student. He was A student because learning was easy. He turned a lot of energy towards the debating and Model United, and he used to participate in debate and all those. He also debating and Model United Nation. He also found someone to admire, and his teacher, Richard A. Werer. He was social studies teacher, and he was as well as advisor to Richard to both clubs. Mr. Werer was the perfect person for me, and he says that he was a perfect person for him. He opened my mind to me, and Richard A. Werer, he opened a bright mind for new ideas. He gave new ideas. Richard would always give that extra effort, Mr. Werer said. And Richard, he was always ready to adopt new things. And he was always ready to give extra efforts to the things. What pleased me was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night doing debate research besides doing all his research with butterflies and other interests. Like he says that what surprised Mr. Werer, that not only he was interested in, though apart from science, he was not that he was totally indulged in science activities. He used to do debates. He used to do other activities also. Richard was competitive. He had a competitive spirit. Mr. Werer continued. He says he had a competitive spirit, but not in bad sense. He explained, Richard was not interested in winning for winning's sake or winning to get a prize. Rather, he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. For the right reasons, he wants to be the best. And he says that he competed to get exposure, to excel, not just to win the prize. And that is one of the ingredients in the making of scientists. And this is the main thing. This is the main ingredient. Competition for the sake of exposure, for the sake to excel, not for the sake of winning. This is the main reason. This is the main thing. This is the main ingredient in the making of a scientist. Start with a first-rate mind and add curiosity and mix in all will to win for the right reasons. These all are the main things. These all are the ingredients needed for the making of a scientist. Like competed to get exposure, to excel, first-rate mind, curiosity, mix in will to win, and these are all the ingredients which led him to his goal. Everett has these qualities from the time the book The Travels of Monarch 10 opened the world science to him. And this book, it was a turning point for him. This was a book which opened the world of science to him. Richard Arkwright has never lost his scientific curiosity. And after reading that book, his curiosity awoke, and he never lost his scientific curiosity. He was always ready to know more and more. So this is the end of the chapter. If you face any problem, you can call me. Do the question answers in your notebook. Thank you. Goodbye.